Hello, everybody, and welcome to the podcast. Today, we're going with a cold open. One, because this is the final episode of January. That's right, my first month of podcasting is officially in the books. But more importantly, it's because yesterday it was announced that my favorite hockey player of all time is going to officially retire. You guys may not know this, but I'm a huge hockey fan. In fact, hockey's my favorite sport. And now they're about to lose one of the greatest players to ever play in the NHL. Martin Brodeur, one of the greatest goaltenders, if not the greatest goaltender to ever play the game, is going to retire after 22 seasons playing in the NHL. He spent his first 21 seasons as a New Jersey Devil and played 6 games as a St. Louis Blues during this season before deciding to retire. Now, it hasn't officially been announced yet, but he's set to announce it sometime later this week. Martin Brodeur is the league's all-time leader in wins and shutouts and holds a bunch of numerous records, franchise and league records for goaltenders. It's a 4-time Vezina Trophy winner. Now, the Vezina Trophy is the award given. Is the annual award given for each season's greatest goaltender. So he won that 4 times, and he went to 5 Stanley Cup Finals and won 3 of them, all as a New Jersey Devil. He is without a doubt, hands down, a first ballot Hall of Famer. Nobody's going to argue that. But my question is, where does he land as far as goaltenders go? If you're going to look back on history and say, who's the greatest goaltender of all time? Martin Brodeur's name is going to pop up. There's no doubt about it. No argument about it. And honest to God, when I think about it, his name and one other is the one that's going to come up, and that is Patrick Roy. Now, between the two, like I said, you look at all the stats and the leaderboards and the records, you're going to see Martin Brodeur's name more than Roy. So what makes him better or what makes him worse? Honest to God, I'm a little biased because I am a New Jersey Devils fan. And Martin Brodeur's career began early 90s when I was born and is just now ending when I'm 22 years old. I literally grew up with me being a Devils fan. I literally grew up watching this guy. His entire career has spanned my entire life. And every memory that I have as a hockey fan, whether it be Devils games or anything, is somehow connected to this guy. Now that may sound kind of weird, I'm sure, but just understand that this is my favorite hockey player of all time and my second favorite professional athlete of all time. And so, Brodeur, thank you very much for all the great memories, and I hope to God that one day you will get the credit that you deserve as the greatest goaltender of all time. Welcome Into the Voyd.
What you want? Come on. Come on.
All right. Hello and what's up, everybody? Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Into the Voyd podcast. As always, I am your host, RJ Voyd. It's very exciting. My first month is over, and I've done 5. This is my 5th episode, so I've done 5 episodes, and it's been one hell of a ride, and I've really enjoyed learning everything that there is to learn. And of course, there's so much more that I'm going to learn. I'm going to continue to grow. Hopefully, that is. I mean, that's the idea, ain't it? But I want to thank you all for your support. And I hope you guys are enjoying the show. And again, anytime you want to ask me a question, just leave it in the comments section, or you can send me an email off of our website. That all being said, Super Bowl week is upon us. And I'm actually surprised. It seems like this whole Deflategate nonsense has actually died down. Thank God. I was so weary that I was going to have to listen to nothing but ball talk the rest of the week on ESPN or CBS Sports or Fox Sports radio. So I was very excited to see that most of that talk has at least died down. That's very exciting. But one of the biggest news that's come out this week, Josh Gordon, a star wide receiver. He plays for the Cleveland Browns. You guys may have heard of him, right? Just came off of a suspension, was suspended again for the final game of this season, but he was suspended for marijuana charges or marijuana use. I think he failed a drug test, right? And he was initially suspended for this entire season, right? Until the NFL revised their rules and he was kind of let off the hook. He was allowed to play for the last 6 games of the season until, of course, he missed the 6th one because of team conduct, for violating the team conduct policy or the team rules or whatever. But Josh Gordon, star wide receiver, again, is going to miss the entire 2015 season. He's going to be out the entire next season. Why, you may ask? Guess what? Surprise, surprise, it's for drug and alcohol related business. I mean, this is a kid who, let's go back in time, shall we? He was suspended for marijuana in college during his sophomore season. He played for Baylor, right? He was suspended for that. Okay, happens a lot, actually. Kids nowadays, marijuana is a big thing. I mean, it's not, I don't even consider it to be that dangerous of a drug, but that's a different conversation all on its own here. Then he was suspended by Baylor again for failing another drug test. Well, then he transferred to Utah, sat out the entire 2011 season because he declared too late for the draft. Then he was drafted by the Cleveland Browns in the 2012 supplementary draft. The 2nd round, right? So he finished the 2000. So far so good. Maybe this kid's going to come back and he's learned his lesson, you would think, right? Twice being suspended for the same thing. He's got to have learned his lesson. He finished the 2013 season as the NFL's leader in receiving yards with 1,600, right? Named Pro Bowl and everything. Then he gets busted for marijuana charges again. Like I said, I think he failed the drug test. Gets suspended for this entire year. Comes back. Now he's suspended again because he violated, I guess it's kind of like a probation thing, but he was caught, it was alcohol. I mean, he was caught drinking, I guess. Drinking and maybe driving or something like that. I can't remember. But here's a kid who's been obviously in trouble as far as not just in trouble with the league and in college, NCAA, but suspended for the same thing. It's always drug and alcohol related thing. This kid, clearly, he led the league in receiving in 2013. That's incredible considering he plays for the Cleveland Browns. Who was the Cleveland Browns quarterback in 2013? I don't know. Brian Hoyer played some of the games, but if he can lead the league in receiving yards in 1 year without a marquee, without a big name quarterback, imagine just how good of a career that this kid could have. Instead, he insists on getting in trouble, and it's just, what is wrong with this kid? It's incredible. It's certainly a very it's mind-blowing to me that it's just he keeps getting in trouble for the same thing. He's set to miss the entire season. When is it going to be where he's just banned from the sport? I don't know what the NFL's ruling is as far as repeat offenders, but this has got to stop for Josh Gordon. This kid has all the talent in the world, and he could be a star in this league, and he wants to throw it all away for stupid crap. I mean, it's incredible. It's a mess. It really is. Super Bowl week, of course, though. That's the big talk. Thank God. We got ourselves one stellar matchup. One amazing matchup. One of the best matchups, and I said this last week as well, or Saturday. But this is probably the best matchup, Super Bowl matchup I have seen ever. Okay? Now, I don't remember too many Super Bowls. Okay? But the ones that I do, I can't remember ever having two equally opposing teams on both sides. But getting into that here in a little bit, we're going to break down the game, I'm going to give you my breakdown of it, and then I'm going to give you my predictions of it. But Richard Sherman, in controversy again, and this is the best. This is, as far as media goes and news and everything, this is the best thing about Super Bowl week, is all the news sources, they focus in on these two teams, right? And they will find whatever they can. And you always get controversy. You always get the big storylines brought up. Richard Sherman I'll just get right into it. Richard Sherman called out Roger Goodell earlier this week, implying that he's corrupt. He was asked about if he thought the New England Patriots were going to be punished for this Deflategate crap, right? And he replied with something along the lines, I don't have his quote here, but something along the lines of, not so long as Robert Kraft and Roger Goodell are taking pictures of each other at each other's houses. So essentially, he just called out Roger Goodell for being corrupt. He's basically saying that, look, he's playing favorites. You know, he's favoriting the Patriots over everything else. And I'm not going to disagree with him. I have my own opinions on that matter. I'm not going to disagree with him. But the more astounding thing about him calling out, and this is, by the way, in the same press conference or in the same interview that he also called out the media as well. It was a little funny little thing that happened. One of the reporters asked him if he still believed he was the best cornerback in the league, and he replies with, "I don't answer preschool questions." This guy is a clown. This entire team, the Seattle Seahawks, is a bunch of clowns. They're all nuts. They're all out of their minds, and they're all just clowns. Richard Sherman, Marshawn Lynch, Doug Baldwin. I mean, they're out of their effing minds. But the more astounding thing about this Sherman calling out Goodell thing is that it's been a couple days now, and Goodell hasn't done anything about it. There's been no backlash. There's been no response by the NFL to this. I mean, you got a guy here basically calling out your leader, what's supposed to be the boss, the big man, the leader, and nothing happens. He just lets him walk over. And this goes right back into all the controversy that's been surrounding Roger Goodell in the last year. And I said it back in, I guess it was August, when the Ray Rice thing was happening. I said it back then that Roger Goodell needed to be fired. They needed to get rid of him. And here I am in January, late January, going into February, Super Bowl week, and I'm saying the exact same thing. I mean, look, everything that has happened with this guy, Ray Rice, Adrian Peterson, Deflategate. Now you got your own employees, because essentially that's what it is. He governs the whole thing. They don't necessarily work for him, but generally speaking, that's kind of how it is. He is the boss over them, right? And they're calling him out. They're basically calling him corrupt, questioning his integrity. As the commissioner, you've got to lay your foot down. You've got to lay the hammer down and respond to stuff like this. You can't have the players in the NFL going around smash talking and trash talking. Because look, today it's Richard Sherman. Okay? Nothing happens to him within the week. Guess what's going to happen next week? Or the week after that? I mean, you're going to have more and more of these players coming out talking crap about him. And I'm not complaining about it. You know, I'm not a Roger Goodell fan. I just said I want to see him fired. And even now, you need a new commissioner in the NFL. I mean, there's no doubt about it. There's no argument about it. You can't keep this guy around. And it's not because Deflategate's this big deal. Deflategate is a media-driven thing, okay? Every sports fan I know, every sports analyst that I've listened to, everybody who is involved in, who is emotionally or professionally involved in this sport or this profession, right, has all said the same thing. It's nonsense. It's dumb. It's completely blown out of proportion. The only people who are considering this to be as big of a story as it's been built up to be the last week is the media, the outside media, CBS, CNN, or C-SPAN. You know, whoever's calling the Fox News at 12 or whatever. It's all of those people that are making this a bigger deal because they feel that story. There is a few new information regarding the Deflategate that's popped up here, and there's one that I like that you don't hear about. Why? Because it's not an important story. It doesn't work well for the story and the ratings. It's not the controversial thing that non-NFL fans want to hear. You know what I'm saying? But I'll talk about that here in a second. Going back to this Roger Goodell thing, I mean, with Ray Rice, Adrian Peterson, Deflategate, And now you got your own players calling you out, calling you corrupt, questioning your integrity and where you stand as a boss. You got to make a stand now. And obviously he's not doing it. He's not responding to this. He's not doing anything about it. The players, it looks to me that Roger, and not to mention the fact that you got the whole Deflategate thing last week going into this week. It's Super Bowl week, and now you got your players, and Roger Goodell's nowhere to be found. He hasn't made an appearance. He hasn't made a statement regarding Deflategate, at least that I know of. He is just so disconnected with everything now. It's like he's afraid of the media. Granted, I understand, because the media absolutely butchered him during the Ray Rice, Adrian Peterson thing fiasco. But look, this guy's clearly not, he's incompetent. And it's with everything that happened with Ray Rice. Everybody, okay, I don't care who you are, you gotta admit that he dropped the ball with the Ray Rice thing. He completely butchered that thing. And look, Ray Rice, he was obviously wrong. Everything he did was terrible and he shouldn't, but a 4-game suspension, that was his ruling on it? It's ridiculous. And then you got Adrian Peterson. So you got both of these guys, okay, who are both of them are probably going to be back next year. Ray Rice for sure. Adrian Peterson, it kind of depends on, he might be back with the Vikings, but if the Vikings decide to part ways with him, he's coming back next year, right? Every decision that ever since the Ray Rice thing, in particular, every decision he's made since then has not made any sense. He's clearly he's like he's afraid. He's disconnected because he's terrified of what happened. Deflategate now has been a week removed, right? Something as simple as 11 deflated balls, right? Cheating or not, who cares? They're balls. They had absolutely no outcome or no effect on the outcome of the game that is in question here. All he has to do, if he would just put his foot down instead of letting this whole situation drag on. I may have said it a couple episodes ago, or the last episode, but it is clear. First off, it's clear that he's going to wait until after the Super Bowl to do it. That's fine. But he should have had this thing cleaned up, cleared up before this week even started. This weekend, Friday or Saturday, it should have been done with. We should not have to be talking about it here on Super Bowl week. Like I said, it's calmed down, but it's still there. Everybody's still talking about it. This guy's clearly dropped the ball on everything that's happened since this Ray Rice thing. Now, maybe this Ray Rice incident, this Ray Rice controversy kind of knocked him, kind of loopy a little bit. Now he's just kind of struggling to figure out what's right and what's wrong. But you can't have a commissioner like that. Regardless of how this ends up, regardless of how he finishes these situations, how he clears up the Ray Rice, the Adrian Peterson, which I think is kind of out of his hands at this point, how he cleans up Deflategate, how he deals with guys like Richard Sherman calling him out, regardless of how he handles all that, it's time for a change. It's time to get rid of him. There's no reason why somebody like that should be still leading the charge here, leading this organization. And the sad part about it is, as much as he should be fired, because look, one more point about that. It's clear all the fan base hate him. Okay? All the fans, they don't like him. They want him gone. The fans do. Fine. That's the fans' perspective. As much as the fans are important, as far as this is concerned, it doesn't really matter. You know what I'm saying? But now you have, and it's clear, it's not just Richard Sherman, it's Marshawn Lynch, it's a bunch of other guys who feel like they've been wronged by this guy. Jimmy Graham is a perfect example of it. Now you have it to where your own players are against him and are viewing him as that villain who is trying to, not destroy them, but trying to get in the way of their success. You know? Now you got your own players turning against you. So you need a new guy. And the sad part about it is, as much as the fans want it, as much as I'm sure the players want it, he's not going anywhere. You know why? Because the owners, the 32 owners in the NFL, or at least most of them, love him. They look at him as he's the guy who brought us in all this money, and they love him. He's got a great relationship with most of them, if not all of them. And he's not, and they're the only people that can fire him. They're the only people that got the power to let him go, and it's not going to happen. And that's the sad part about this whole situation is it is clear to everybody on the outside looking in, and maybe even clear to the owners, but they're not going to pull the trigger because they believe that he's the ticket to paradise. He's the one fishing in those bills, those checks. He's the one that's giving them the money. Look, you put anybody right now in charge of the NFL, unless he's a blundering idiot, which, look, that's who they got right now as it is. You put anybody else in charge, anybody, and they will make you money. Why? It's not because the NFL's not making money because of Roger Goodell. All right, he may have turned a few wheels and pushed a few things in the right direction, but for the most part, this sport got big because it's a great sport. For the most part, I mean, it has its controversies, yeah, but every sport does. It is an awesome sport, and that is the only reason why it's making money and growing. Fantasy football, all that kind of stuff, all lending to it. It's not Roger Goodell. He's got to go. You need somebody new in the mix there. Like I said, Deflategate. I do want to say this, due to reasons I don't want to talk about here. I am limited to a 30-minute window, so we're coming up here on the 22nd minute. So we got 8 minutes left. I'm gonna try and run through the Super Bowl matchup real fast, and then maybe I'll post a second video on YouTube or something. I'll let you guys know what I decided about that. Maybe kind of finishing up my thought process on this. But Deflategate, couple of extra things. I'm just gonna run through these real fast. Couple of new developments. Apparently, the NFL, in their investigation, found a video of a Patriots, I guess a ball boy or equipment manager or something like that, taking the balls, in the ball bag, of course, into the bathroom and bringing them into the bathroom for a total of 90 seconds. And now that's the big question. Then Robert Kraft, the owner of the Patriots, right? The video or the information about the video was leaked to a reporter. Probably I'm guessing by the front office, kind of to keep the media off their back. That way they can say to the media, look, we are looking into it. But that was leaked, and so that prompted Robert Kraft, the owner of the Patriots, to come out, which they've already done their own investigation, apparently. He came out, right, and he basically demanded an apology. Not only to him and the organization, but specifically to Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. Look, I said it last week, or said it on Saturday. After the two press conferences and after hearing everything there pretty much was to hear about Deflategate, there was a part of me on Saturday that said, I kind of believe Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. And there's an even bigger part of me today that's coming out and saying, you know what, I really think that this was all just a big, overblown misunderstanding. You know, and Robert Kraft got into a press conference and he said the NFL needs to come up with some solid, foolproof evidence, and if they don't, they need to apologize. He was clearly very upset with the situation, and every day new news comes out about the NFL and this Deflategate. I'm leaning more towards the New England Patriots side. I never thought I would say that, and I hate myself for saying it because I hate that team and that organization, but that's how I'm feeling about it. All right, so coming in here now to close out, let's just break down this game now. Talked about a lot of the off the field stuff, a lot of the things leading up into it, a lot of these storylines, but here I'm going to break down the actual game, right? I said it earlier at the beginning. This is probably the most well-balanced, the most even weight, I guess you could say. This is the evenly weighed matchup in Super Bowl that I can ever remember. I mean, everybody knows the Legion of Boom, their secondary, Seattle Seahawks secondary. Everybody knows that they are the best, hands down by far, the best secondary in the league right now. And so that's what everybody's focusing on. It's like, all right, they're clearly the best secondary. And their defense, their front seven, I mean, they're not slouches either. They are pretty good as well. But then we always forget, look, you got guys like Brandon Browner, right? And Darrelle Revis on the Patriots side. If the Legion of Boom is the number one secondary in the league right now, then there's no question at all that the New England Patriots secondary is right behind them. If the Legion of Boom is number one, Patriots secondary is number two. I mean, so you got the two best secondaries in the league facing off each other. Granted, they don't face each other one-on-one or face-to-face, but in the same matchup, posing the same problems for both quarterbacks. You got Pete Carroll and Bill Belichick. Their similarities are endless. I mean, you think about if you consider Bill Belichick. Granted, I don't think I have mixed feelings about this whole Deflategate thing, and I'm kind of on his side as far as I think it's been blown out of proportion and unfairly criticized for this whole thing. Bill Belichick is clear, Deflategate aside, that he is not opposed to cheating. He's not opposed to bending the rules in order to get the best possible chance to win. Let's not forget, Pete Carroll, head coach of the Seattle Seahawks, is the exact same way. Both of these guys, both of these head coaches are not afraid to do whatever it takes to win, are not afraid to bend rules, to make trick plays and trick offensive plays and fake punts and fake field goals. Both of these head coaches are a win-at-all-cost attitude, and that makes for an interesting matchup. So you got two even-keeled, even though the Seattle Seahawks secondary is a little above it, two even-keeled secondaries, two dead-even head coaches. Look, Bill Belichick's the better coach. There's no doubt about that, okay? But when you look at the attitudes they have and their style, their mindsets regarding this, Pete Carroll's a great coach too. I mean, there's no doubt about that. So you got two even-keeled coaches. Bill Belichick, as far as career goes, he's better. But right now, they're very, very close. Right? They're running games. Okay? They're running games. LeGarrette Blount, however you pronounce his last name, LeGarrette Blount and Marshawn Lynch. Marshawn Lynch is the best running back in the league right now. Okay? There's no question about it. He's a nutcase, and I think he's from another planet because he's out of his freaking mind like everybody else on that team. Probably more so than everybody else on that team. But he's the best running back in the league. And the way, there's something about the way that the Patriots prepare themselves for each and every matchup meticulously. That running game could be a big difference as well. So now you got two generally speaking, of course, two even-keeled secondaries, two even-keeled head coaches, a balanced running game on both sides. Let's look at their wide receiving core. Patriots got Rob Gronkowski. Fine. He's a big difference in this game, sure. But as far as wide receivers go, neither team has anybody special. Neither team has a marquee wide receiver, a big superstar wide receiver. So now they're both on the same level, generally speaking. Probably a little favored in the Patriots' way. But as far as receivers go, now they're a little level. Then you got to look at, here's the difference maker, okay? And here's where my pick is going to come into play. Here's the difference maker. Everything about these teams, front to back, offense and defense, so even-keeled, so balanced, that the difference maker could very well be in the quarterback position. Tom Brady, we all know him. All right? Dislike him or like him, he's a Hall of Fame quarterback, and many people are going to consider him at the end of his career as the best quarterback of all time, right? He knows what, especially this year, okay? He knows how to win games. He can take the worst wide receiver and turn them into superstar wide receivers, much like Peyton Manning. This guy knows how to win, and you know, okay? A lot of the times people say, oh, if something controversial is happening off the field, a lot of times people automatically assume, oh man, it's going to be a distraction. And for a lot of teams, in fact, maybe most of them, that could easily be the picture. The Patriots and Tom Brady, they're going to take this Deflategate crap and they're going to put it on their back and they're going to say, yeah, you guys think so? Watch this. And they're going to use that as motivation to kick some butt in the Super Bowl. So Tom Brady, we all know how great he is. And the problem, and here's where it is. This is where it gets a little unbalanced. And I'm going to have a lot of arguments about this, is Russell Wilson. I've been saying it from the beginning that I think Russell Wilson is overrated. Taking nothing away from him. He's a great not great. He's a very, very good quarterback. Okay? He's a hell of an athlete. But everybody's saying that he's top 5 in the league. He's in the elite. No, he's not. Okay? Russell Wilson is a beneficiary of everything else around him. Even if he wins, even if, say, the Seahawks win on Sunday in the Super Bowl, that doesn't mean anything for him. He is a beneficiary of a historic defense, a great head coach, a phenomenal running game, and a damn good offensive line. He is a beneficiary of a great team around him. That does not make him a great quarterback. He's a good quarterback, a very, very good and very, very athletic and very, very talented quarterback. But he is not great. He is not in the elite. Everything about this game is balanced, and I think that's going to be the difference maker, is because Tom Brady, when it's all said and done, he knows what it takes to win. And I know that Russell Wilson just won the Super Bowl last year, but Tom Brady is a whole nother machine. Peyton Manning, granted, great quarterback as well, right up there with Tom Brady as far as career greatest of all time. But we all know Peyton Manning likes to choke in the playoffs. He does. It's a fact. It's happened year after year after year that he's made the playoffs. He does not play well in the playoffs. Tom Brady is a completely different story. They've lost the last 2 trips to the Super Bowl. Fine. The Bill Belichick, Tom Brady era is coming to an end. All right? It's not over yet. It's still got a handful of years left. But for the most part, that era, that legacy, that dynasty is coming slowly to an end as they both get older. Tom Brady's got another handful of years before he retires. It's not going to be long. This very well, and I guarantee you they're looking at it this way too. At least Tom Brady and Bill Belichick just might be. They might not admit it to anybody. They might not say it to anybody. But I guarantee you they're thinking this very well may be their last chance to win it. If you want to solidify your legacy, if you want to solidify your dynasty in the history books of the NFL, all they need is this win. I mean, they've already won 3 Super Bowls, lost the 2 to the Giants, but if they win this one, it kind of bookends the sides, and next thing you know, the 2 Giants Super Bowl losses are kind of out the window. Not too many people are going to be considering it. They're looking to solidify their legacy. That, I think, is going to be the difference maker in this game. That's why I have the New England Patriots over the Seattle Seahawks in the Super Bowl. But man, this is going to be a stellar matchup. This is going to be, I'm hoping to God this doesn't turn out to be anything like last year. Because this is one of the best matchups I've ever seen. And it's going to be one of the best Super Bowls I've ever seen. I said it last week on Saturday. I don't like either one of these teams. But damn, I'm going to be watching it. And it's going to be one hell of a ride. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you very much for joining me. And happy new month. That was a really weird laugh. That's all I got time for you guys today. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Into the Voyd. As always, your host, RJ Voyd. You can follow us, share, like on Facebook, facebook.com/IntoTheVoyd, spelled VOYD. On Twitter, twitter.com/RJ Voyd. You can find us on iTunes and Stitcher if you only got your mobile phone, your smartphone. Visit our website, intothevoid.weebly.com. I just redid the entire homepage of it. I'm very excited about that. Got a few things I'm working on as well. Working on a YouTube channel as well. So keep your eyes out for that. I'm going to be posting when I finally got it finished or when I have some videos I want to share with you guys. I'm going to post it on my website, give you guys the link. Music credits for this episode, as always, provided by Incompetech.com. Go there. They got a ton of royalty-free music. It's for free. All you got to do is give them credit, obviously. But it's a lot of really great music for your use for podcasting or videos on YouTube, whatever you like to use them for. So check out Incompetech.com. But that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next week.